two things that you should focus on, and that is skills and knowledge that are valuable and that are rare. In certain circles, all that matters and counts is money, physical assets, cash, and your salary. But that's certainly not all that matters in life. While there is a tangible side, there is also an intangible side that matters as much or perhaps even more. Companies have intangible assets, intellectual property or IP, and trademark. And all of these things have a value, a dollar value in the company's balance sheet. And we humans also have a lot of intangible assets, but many people are not really aware of these. Today in this video, I want to introduce the term intangible assets. And there are three main types of intangible assets, which are productive assets, vitality assets, and transformational assets. And these are based on the book 100-Year Life by Linda Gratton and Andrew Scott. And I will split this up into 3 episodes, with this being the first one. So if you don't want to miss out on the next episode, then make sure that you subscribe and also hit the little alarm bell. People don't actually want money for money's sake, but they want money for what it can provide us and what it can enable us to do. What most people want is family, good friends, skills and knowledge in a particular area, so something of which they can say they are good at, and also mental and physical health. What all of these have in common is that they are intangible assets. And while it is pretty difficult to assign an exact dollar value to these, each of these certainly have a very high and immeasurable value. As pointed out in the book 100-Year Life by Linda Gratton and Andrew Scott, more and more people nowadays will get to the age of 100. What I see a lot of very successful people doing is that they spend the first 40 or 50 years of their life focused on their career and accumulating wealth, and only after that, once they are about to retire, then they start thinking about their health and spending more time with their family. But the thing is that in reality, life doesn't work that way. You cannot chop your life up into 2 parts and focus on one thing almost exclusively in the first part and only worry about other things like health in the second part. But rather, it's a balancing act to work on tangible as well as intangible assets in parallel, because both of these are interdependent. If you are healthy, you'll be able to be more productive, which can ultimately lead to more money. If you work on updating your skills and have a strong network of friends, that can lead to more career options, and that in turn can also lead to more money. On the other hand, a higher salary can never make up for an unhappy family, and a bigger bonus can certainly pay the hospital bills, but it cannot buy you mental health. It can buy you treatment and prevention and a peace of mind to a certain extent, but it's not as easy as that. It's not possible to completely ignore your health until you are 70 and then playing catch up and in a way trying to buy your way out to better health. Let's start with the first intangible asset, which is the focus of this first episode, which is productive asset. Productive assets are those intangibles that support productivity at work and boost income and career prospects. And this includes skill and knowledge, peers, and reputation. The Harvard economists Claudia Goldin and Larry Katz say that there is a race between education and technology. If someone is born in 1990 and lives for 100 years, you can imagine how many technological advances there will be in the meantime. So something that the person might have learned in 2020 this year might not be that relevant anymore in 2050. Just imagine that in 20 years from now, everything will likely become more automated, and chances are that we will also be working with robots more. So in order to stay competitive, this would mean that at some point in time, sooner rather than later, we would need to upgrade our skills. And a minor upgrade, such as taking an advanced Excel course or so, will likely not be enough. I know some people from the older generation, and I'm pretty sure that you know them too, who kind of miss the technological development of the 1990s to the earlier 2000s. They didn't spend enough time using the internet or working on a computer. And by the time that they wanted to start learning it, it was kind of too late because it became really hard to catch up on all of that. And this might bring to mind the image of our grandparents and maybe some hilarious incidents connected to that. I know you've been through that. Teaching one of your grandparents or parents how to do something on WhatsApp or how to copy something on Word and other things like that. But don't laugh too soon because the exact thing can happen to us too. Imagine what can happen to us in 20 years if we don't stay up to date and if we do not develop our skills. And that is why I think that getting a second education, such as a postgraduate degree or a certificate in something, can make sense because you don't spend too much time on it, but on the other hand, it's long enough that you can significantly upgrade your skill set. And now the question is, which skills should you upgrade? And here the authors of The 100-Year Life point out two things that you should focus on, and that is skills and knowledge that are valuable and that are rare. And of course, it will require some additional research to find out what in particular in your field or in the field that you want to work in the future is considered valuable and rare. I would also add a third criteria to this, which is things, skills and knowledge that can't be automated and explained easily. As Anders Sandberg, PhD in computational neurosciences said, if your job can easily be explained, it will be automated. If it can't, it won't. In other words, if you have skills that no one else or very few people in the market have and that are very difficult to replicate, then you will always be ahead of the game. You'll always be in a strong position because so few people can do this job. For example, if you are a regular accountant, then you will be competing against thousands and thousands of other accountants who do more or less or perhaps even exactly the same thing as you. However, if you are an accountant who specializes in film production, then we are talking about something that is comparatively rare and also valuable because you have a set of skills, knowledge, and experience that not all other accountants have. The next thing that falls under productive assets is peers. Usually we talk about an individual's productivity and also an individual's performance, but in reality, the productivity of one individual is very much affected by the productivity of his or her peers. Consider this phenomenon. A person could be working at company A and she could be highly productive there, but once she moves out of this company and environment and moves to a different company and also environment, there is a possibility that her productivity could drop. It can also be vice versa. It could be the case that her productivity used to be on the lower side, but once she moves to a different company, her productivity suddenly rises because of the effect of the productivity of her surrounding peers. And here you can see how important networks and relationships are. And it's not about how many people you have on LinkedIn, but it's more about the quality of the relationships and how you maintain these. The next thing is reputation. It sounds like an old-fashioned word, but it's as important as ever. You can change your job and your career, but it's not as easy to just change your reputation. Well, I mean, if you used to have a good reputation, then of course it can change for the worse. It can actually depreciate. With everything being online nowadays, it is almost impossible to erase your tracks. People nowadays are far too busy to try and get to the ground of everything. They don't have any time to get to the bottom of who you really are. So reputation becomes a thing that makes it easy for people to sort out people who they want to work with and who they don't want to work with. Nowadays, we expose ourselves online all the time, so it's rather easy for someone to just make a snap judgment about you by simply looking at your Facebook profile or your LinkedIn profile. That is why whatever you do, whether or not you like your current job or your current boss, you always need to think about and maintain your reputation. And even if at some point you decide to leave your job, in those last days at work, you have to still maintain your reputation and act professionally because that will go a long way. Reputation is what will give you the next job or the next project. Reputation is, if you're starting a business, what will get you good employees. And the challenging thing is that reputation can be subjective because it consists of what other people believe about you. There are a few easy to recognize signals of reputation in the book 100-Year Life, which includes schools or associations which by themselves have a good reputation, as well as the direct experience that someone has of working together with you. Reputation is something that needs to be invested in and grown over a long period of time. Reputation is very closely connected to your brand, or what is also known as personal branding. Like many experts say, whether you like it or not, everyone has a personal brand. People just form perceptions of you. So there are two ways to go about this. You can either leave it totally up to other people and let them perceive what they want to perceive of you, or you can manage it. And this doesn't mean that you should appear fake or staged, but what this means is that you take actual care in your work, but also that you highlight what it is about your work and your attitude that you want people to remember and take notice of. As this is another very broad topic, I will just cut it here, and I'll see you in the next episode, episode 2 of Intangible Assets. Please like this video if you found it useful, and also don't forget to check out my other videos on how you can build a meaningful and fulfilling career. As always, I thank you so much for watching, and I hope to catch you again soon.